bring you out in the WhatsApp group. So this is an evolving process. Nothing is final yet, but as we proceed, we may have better idea. And the group as of now is limited to only native scholars, native speakers, and other scholars working on Nordic languages within Nordic. So these are the two this is a criteria which we develop as of now for membership into the group. But as I said, this is not final. We are also contemplating on inviting special lectures from mainland English and also international English. So any suggestion for the improvement of this group can be put forth in the general group, and hope we will come up with great achievement in the days and months to come. So with these two words, thank you so much for attending this webinar. First webinar talked by Professor Madhumita from Tezpur University. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Now let me take this privilege to invite Professor Madhumita Barbora. Before I hand over to Professor, let me give a brief introduction on Professor Madhumita Barbora. Though I don't need a formal introduction who is Professor Madhumita Barbora, every one of us are very familiar and well known to Professor. Right now, Professor is holding the position as coordinator to the Center for Endangered Language to the Tezpur University, and the area of interest of the professor lies in the field of syntax, field linguistics, documentation of Tibeto-Burman languages of Northeast India, and applied linguistics. So, Madam has completed several number of projects as principal investigator, and she has published many journals in international and I think it is requested to all other participants to keep themselves muted when our speaker starts delivering her lecture. So moving on, so Madam has published so many book chapters in national and international books also, and again has published so many articles, papers in conferences, workshops, seminars. And right now, Madam is looking after the Center for Endangered Language in University of Tezpur, and Madam has also given so many talks in seminar, workshops, and training programs, and etc. And Madam has produced a numerous numbers of PhD scholar under her, and yeah, and she is engaged with many of the board of studies, namely among them, Madam is the board of members in the Department of Linguistics, NEHU, Shillong. Madam is member of board of studies in the Linguistic Department, Nagaland University, Kohima campus. Yeah, it's a very long list, so I took the privilege now to invite Professor Madhumita Barbora to kindly deliver today's special lectures. Over to you, Madam.
Video too? Can you hear me, Vijay?
Yes, Madam. Yes, yeah.
So thank you for asking me to give the first talk of this new platform, a much awaited platform which we needed in Northeast. I congratulate all the members, especially Bijan, you and Monali, and Haukip also for taking the initiative. And we hope that it will turn out to be something very substantial, so that in future we can move to have a journal at the care list, and that is what should be our goal, I think so, because there are so many young potential linguists working, and they have to, we have to encourage them. So this is what I have to say briefly. And today's talk, which I am going to give, is basically my experience in working with languages in Northeast India. Especially in Arunachal Pradesh, in Northeast India. So I'll make it a slideshow. About the languages of Sikkim. And though we are cross-culturally rich, and the diversity actually is brought about by the Tibeto-Burman, Austroasiatic, and Tai-Kadai language family.
Hello, Madam. Madam, can you hear us? Madhumita, Madam? You are muted, Madam. Please unmute yourself, Madam. Hello, Madhumita, Madam. I think she's facing problem with the network. Yeah, Madam, you are muted. Please unmute yourself first, Madam.
Yeah, the problem is the net is giving a lot of trouble here.
Okay, okay.
So,
Yes.
So everything is going off and on. So can we see the screen now?
Yes, yes, yes. We can see the screen, Madam. Your slide is also coming. Yes.
I will. Yeah.
Ma'am, please
so
put the screen in full mode, full screen.
Yeah,
ma'am.
full screen mode.
It
slideshow.
is,
Yeah, slideshow, Madam.
slideshow mode.
Yeah. Yeah, all good, Madam. Yeah, please go ahead, Madam.
So can you see it now? Yeah.
Yes, Madam, all good.
So the reach, yeah. the rich diversity that we have
It seems the professor's internet is unstable. So please bear with us.
Vijayan?
Yes, sir.
Vijayan?
Yes, sir.
Just tell her to connect it from her mobile. She can share the hotspots. Because mobile internet is much reliable. So if she can share it with hotspots with her laptop, whether she knows that or not, I don't know. Then the internet speed is much reliable with mobile network.
Okay, sir. Let Madam to come once. Then let's see how we can solve this issue. Madhumita, Madam, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, Madam.
The net is giving lot of a trouble.
Oh, okay.
So that is why it's getting disrupted. Share Korbula?
Yeah. Yeah, Madam, I have a suggestion, Madam. Okay, yeah. If you turn off your video also, I think it will enhance your stability of internet. Yes, Madam.
Okay. Video to.
Yeah, please reshare your slide. Then I think it will go fine now.
Yeah. I'll do that. Sorry for the untoward. Normally doesn't happen, but today somehow. So of the 5 language families, Tibeto-Burman is found in all the states, and the diversity is brought about by the TB languages, followed by Austroasiatic and Tai-Kadai. Next slide. Yeah, but then what persists is that in our mind when we are working in this language is the number of languages and dialects that are spoken in Northeast. And if we look at the official tables, we find that there are about 140 tribes and sub-tribes in the 7 states. And the 7 states are given here. Arunachal Pradesh has 26 major tribes. Assam has 16 plain and hill tribes. Manipur has 33 scheduled tribes. Meghalaya has 7 Khasi subtribe, 9 Garo subtribe. Mizoram has 14 scheduled tribes. Nagaland has 16 tribes, major tribe and subtribe. And Tripura has 19 scheduled tribes. Now, this classification of tribes and subtribes have started since the time George Vendrime started his classification of languages. And in due course, we have seen that as newer languages or dialects have emerged, classifications have continued. And George Vendrime in 2001 had classified a cluster of languages called Kobua. And the classification was done based on shared core vocabulary by the tribes and subtribes under observation. And the name Ko-Bua is formed by two words, Ko, which means water, and Bua, which is fire. And languages like Bugun, Duhumbi, Puroi, Klish, and others come under this cluster as they share mostly this two words, Ko and Bua. Now, recent research shows from Leiberher and Bott in 2017 that the Ko-Bua cluster has shown that there are more than 22 varieties under this cluster. And so these clusters, these varieties also need to be studied. And Blanche also includes Sherdukpen in this cluster, but there are linguists who may not agree having it. So that's a different issue, whether linguists agree or not. But one thing is that there are, within a language, there are a number of varieties or within a language group, and that we need to look at. And Professor Scott Delancey, last time he was here in a university, he mentioned that Stephen Mario had said that there are about some 80 varieties within the Tangsa Nokte languages. So you see the amount of work a scholar or people, linguists, researchers have to do. And based on that kind of classification, I have the subgroups, language subgroups of Arunachal Pradesh. And in this, we have a few isolates. And these isolates are Koro, Milang, Sherdukpen, Sartang, though, and research is still going on trying to verify and identify languages, and for which we normally see that these varieties are said that they, normally when we go to the field, it is claimed that this is just a dialect and we don't go beyond a point because other issues are there, which I'll be discussing later. But we need to explore each and every variety that we come across in order to understand the linguistic map of our region. So now I'd like to give you an example of Rushoaka versus Koro. These are two tribes who are neighbors, and they have been, and Koro, which is a smaller group than Rushoaka, has been considered to be a subtribe of Rushoaka, Koro. But it has been found that Rushoaka and Koro are separate languages now. And this was done, or that Anderson in 2010 did show that through ethnically similar, though they are ethnically similar, these people have same cultures, but they have everything. They have linguistically they are different. And Abraham et al. From CIL, they had shown that only 9% lexical similarity exists between Rushoaka and Koro. And Post and Blanche has also said that Koro is unlike any of the neighboring languages from the Kameng, that is the East and West Kameng area. And the slide that I'm going to show is from Ms. Nupur Sinha, who is a PhD scholar in Tezpur University. She's working on the Koro language. And here we have a list which shows that these words are lexically not similar. We need to, which is why I would like to stress that we need to work on most of the varieties which we tend to keep under the carpet for so many various reasons. And also we have to take into mind when we do research that there is a spilling over of the language groups. So like Berling had mentioned that Boro Konyak Zimfo group is the largest group, and you can find languages of this group spread in Arunachal, Assam, Meghalaya, Manipur, Nagaland, Tripura. So research should also look into, at least look into how the variations have happened or make a comparative study of such. And then only we would get to understand, the richness of that we claim, that the uniqueness of this diversity that we have in our region. So coming to, this is one issue that we need to look very carefully, because with the coming of the language, of course, now it is the recent thing of the language policy and new language policy that has come in, but the language policy has been there since the 60s. And before we get into that and the mother tongue, introduction of mother tongue in schools, we need to understand that the policies that are made in India are based on the census report, and government of India relies on it very heavily. And based on the 10 years census report, the decennial reports, and by the provisions made by Article 3411 and 351 of the Indian Constitution of the 8th schedule, the country has 22 scheduled languages, and these scheduled languages operate as official language of the country. And out of the 22 scheduled languages, we have, as per Article 343, Hindi is considered to be the first official language, and Article 345 permits the states and union territories to have their own official language, but the condition is that to be an official language of a state, you must have at least 15% of the population speaking that language. Now, I'm showing you a list. This is again from the MHRD site, which shows that the major languages of the states, Arunachal has Nishi, 19.9%. But the thing is, do other groups speak the language? Assamese, 57.8, we already know it's an official language. Meitei is our official language, no issues. Khasi is still not an official language because English is a medium of instruction. Lushai also, Mizoram has English as a medium of instruction. Nagaland, supposedly the major language has only 14% population. So the number of speaker does not cross that 15% mark, and Bengali in Tripura. So these tables are very important because we need to understand that how a language, a local language, a native language can be made an official language, but there are other issues. As I'm talking as a linguist, I'm not looking at the political or the socio-political scenario here. So the scheduled languages, it provides English also as a second language status, but English does not have is not a scheduled language. It does not have that 15%, and yet it is officially recognized as an official language. And to be a scheduled language, you have to have population above 10,000. So the family-wise grouping of population of 122 and scheduled language as per 2001 census is shown in the next slide, where you will find that the Tibeto-Burman language has only 1% of population, that is 10 lakhs at 10305,026. Then an Austroasiatic is a bit more, 1.11%. And this 1%, the diversity that we claim in Northeast, is brought by this this meager 1% in the census table that you see here. So the wise grouping, and the Germanic languages, that is English, falls under here. It comes under 0.2%, which is less than the Tibeto-Burman, but it is still an official language. And the problem is the most diverse language family that is for us in Northeast, with 66 language, out of which 62 are spoken in Northeast and 4 in the northwestern part of India. And amongst the 66 languages, 62 languages here, languages of Sikkim is also included. We have noted earlier that there are 140 tribes and sub-tribes in Northeast officially recorded, which means that only 62, not 62, maybe less than 62, because Sikkim is also included here. Languages are officially recognized, and the remaining 78, 80 native languages of the state is not. And these remaining languages not recognized are what we need to look at, we are wary of. And as researchers, as linguists, and this new platform that we have, we need to work and document these languages that we have before us. So the official languages of Northeast, how many languages is officially recognized scheduled languages? There are 4 languages, Assamese, Bengali, Boro, and Meitei. 2 Indo-Aryan language, Assamese, Bengali, and 2 Tibeto-Burman language. Boro is official language in the BTR, formerly BTAD area. And Bengali is used in the Barak Valley. And Bengali officially is the official language of West Bengal, Tripura, Andaman, Nicobar Islands, and also the second official language of Jharkhand since September 2011. So you see, these languages are the only languages that are recognized officially that can be used as medium of instruction and other official business for other official businesses. In Manipur, we have Meitei, and in Tripura, we have Bengali. And in all the hill states, Arunachal Pradesh, Meghalaya, Mizoram, Nagaland, we have English as the official language. So now, very interestingly, this is a new area of work, and there was a conference on this, the linguistic landscape in Nehu, where Professor Shailendra Singh had organized this conference, where it has been seen that in countries like Japan, which are predominantly monolingual, but the cities are cosmopolitan and they have people from different parts of the world coming and settling there. These languages of those new communities that have gone and settled in Japan and the cities, their languages, the language signs of these communities are very prominent in the cities. But if we talk of Northeast, which has so many, I mean, it becomes very difficult to count. We don't have signage except for the official languages, though there are attempts, I know at least in Assam, the government also made attempt. The attempt is to rename it, but not to use the local languages. So maybe this is where we need to also investigate and find out how we can, make our linguistic landscape more prominent and more vibrant with our diverse languages. So the officially recognized languages, I'm still going on in Arunachal is English, Assam it is Assamese. Of course, English and Boro and Bengali are the officially recognized languages. Meitei and English Manipur. Meghalaya, English, Khasi and Garo, they are officially recognized. We'll look into this term. Mizoram, though it has got a very big population there, and it can be an official language, it is still only officially recognized. And in Tripura, in Nagaland, it's English, and Nagaland and Arunachal Pradesh is more or less, it's in the same situation. And Tripura, we have Kokborok and English with Bengali as official language. Now, the officially recognized languages are non-scheduled languages. And Khasi, Garo, Mizo, Kokborok, which have significant importance in their respective states. Hence, it gets official recognition by the state governments. And maybe they are also used in the classroom to teach the mother tongue, or maybe as a medium of instruction. But there are no such languages in Arunachal, maybe in Nagaland too, but though Tinide and other languages are taught. So I don't know why the census couldn't show that Nagaland has languages, more languages in this particular list. I had looked in tried to find out about Nagaland, but I couldn't get it. And what happens now that since these officially recognized languages are there, are being used in the states, now the state governments want to use these languages and include it and give them the status of scheduled languages. And there are about 38 such non-scheduled languages in India, which are seeking scheduled status. And these are the languages that we find. That is, in Assam, we have Karbi, Meghalaya, Khasi, not Garo, Mizoram, Mizo, Lushai, and then Nagaland, Tinide, and Tripura, Kokborok. So if these languages get recognition, maybe the scenario is going to change a bit. Now, this leads to the other problem that I said, that what happens to the remaining 78, 80 languages. So in 2011, the census report shows that there are 1,369 rationalized mother tongue. Rationalized, and the other 1474 are treated as unclassified and relegated to other mother tongue category. So they're not empties. That is, now the new language policy says that mother tongue should be taught. So the other mother tongues will not be taught and cannot be taught in the schools. And why? We will come to that. So the Article 350A of the Constitution of India states, it shall be the endeavor of every state or every local authority within the state to provide adequate facilities for instruction in mother tongue at the primary stage of education to children belonging to minority groups, linguistic groups. Now, this linguistic minority, we shouldn't try to define minority in any other way. And this is not religious, this is linguistic minority we are talking here. And also the Global Monitoring Report, UNESCO, argues that mother tongue-based bilingual education offers significant pedagogical advantages, which have been reported consistently in the academic literature. Educationists agree that mother tongue in primary classes or up to 12 years is a crucial factor for developing the intellectual, physical, and moral aspects of education in early years. And if in initial formula it is dispensed in the mother tongue, or at least 5 or 6 years, or throughout the whole of primary level, a strong bridge is thus laid for students, firstly, for the successful transfer of literacy skill from mother tongue to the second language, secondly, for the second language acquisition, and thirdly, for successful achievements in further studies. Children from the other mother tongue category have to pick one of the dominant official languages in school, which subsequently becomes their adopted first language. So this is where the problem we have as researchers, why documentation again becomes important. And the medium of instruction, the scheduled languages are officially recognized as the medium of instruction. And in Nagaland, 4 languages, namely Tinide, Ao, Lota, and Sema respectively, are taught up to the post-degree level and high secondary level. In 1997, the Department of Tinide was established in the Kohima campus of Nagaland University. Government of Nagaland has approved 14 more in native local language up to high secondary level. I'd like to thank Dr. Mimi Ezug, head of the department Tinide, Nagaland University, who had given me the information. And interestingly, Tinide was introduced in school in 1968 when the 7 sisters had not come into being. It was only the undivided Assam. Even then, Tinide was recognized. So all the the slides that I have shown, why Tinide is not officially recognized, and yet Tinide has been included in the list where the government wants it. Maybe this is some kind of a gap, and I was not able to find it. You all can help me in finding out what's happening here. Then the government of Nagaland has already approved education in mother tongue up to class 10 of 14 Naga dialects: Chang, Chokri, Keza, Puchuri, Sangtam, Imchungar, Kimya, Kiam, Nugan, Pon, Konyak, Rengma, Zeme, Liangma, and Kuki. 4 local languages, Ao, Angami, Lota, and Sema, are already included as mother tongue till higher secondary level by the Directorate of School Education. I've got this from Nagaland Post. And in Arunachal Pradesh, the first language taught is English, the second language is Hindi, and the third language is either Sanskrit or one of the 9 local languages, Boti, Khamti, Nishi, Adi, Galo, Apatani, Mishmi, Idu, Miju, Tagin, Tangsa, Singpho. So in a seminar and workshop organized by CRT in Arunachal Pradesh in collaboration with CIL, Mysore, in 2012, that was long time, 8 years back, nearly 7-8 years back, they discussed these issues related to mother tongue and mother tongue instruction. And some of the suggestions that was provided were local language should be the first language, followed by English, Hindi as a second and third language. Textbooks to be developed would adopt Roman script, and the language policy of Arunachal Pradesh should be different from the rest of the country. But till date, this change has not taken place. And I'd like to thank Lisa Nandak for providing me with this information. And she's also part of the committee. And though there has been a recommendation for a local language as L1, as accordance to the 3-language formula for non-Hindi states, this has not happened as yet. In Manipur, the following mother tongues, Paite, Tangkul, Mizo, Mar, Zo, Tado, Vaipe, Kom, Mao, and Rongme are taught in up to class 10. Government schools in Manipur have either English or Meitei as a medium of instruction. I'd like to thank Bobita for providing me this information. In Assam, the Boro is a medium of instruction in Boro medium schools in BTR. Guwahati University has Boro at the undergraduate and at the postgraduate level. We have a department, and then there is an extension of Guwahati University in Kokrajhar, I think so. And there we have Boro is predominantly vibrant there. Missing is taught up to primary level, but I have no idea about the other hill tribe. Maybe Karbi is on the way, hill tribes and plain tribes of Assam. So another problem we have is that most of our languages being oral, and the folklores, fables, songs, rituals, these are what we need to again document, which were passed from one generation to the other orally, has nearly come to a halt because the mother tongues or the native language is limited mostly to the home domain. And there's been a major shift to the lingua francas like Arunachali Hindi, Haflong Hindi, Nagamese, and other languages that is there. And which is why that the younger generation have not been able to retain this rich heritage that we have. And this is one problem, and this needs to be looked at. And with the introduction of mother tongue, the need for a script has become crucial. And we have the choice of Arunachal Pradesh, Meghalaya, Mizoram, Nagaland is the Roman script. And the Monpals and the Khamtis of Arunachal have their own script that is derived from Tibetan script and a modified version of the Burmese Thai script for Khamtis. And in Arunachal Pradesh, Tani Lipi, a script was developed by this gentleman called Tony Koyu, and he offered to teach the script to interested learners. However, the natives of Arunachal Pradesh opted for Roman script like the other hill states. Boros have adopted Devanagari, while Missings have opted for a modified Roman script. So implementation of mother tongue in school is quite a challenge now. Only government-run schools have introduced mother tongue in their curriculum. The private schools do not have mother tongue in their curriculum. States which have approved implementation of mother tongue education faces problem in developing scientifically graded textbooks. Lack of well-designed textbook indicates that most of the non-scheduled language have yet to be analyzed and documented thoroughly. Without a good descripted and graded textbooks and trained teachers, implementation of mother tongue will remain a problem. Respective state governments have to work on it, and also the scholars. So what is the attitude of the people? A community, we have seen they have shifted. It is not only now that we see that the reasons we find is either to govern or to have a socio-political identity or to have a socio-economic upliftment. And this to govern, the Ahums, when they first came to Assam and they ruled Assam for 600 years, they lost out on their mother tongue because they consciously shifted to Assamese for better governance. They wanted to keep their own mother tongue as a secret language and they switched to Assamese, and in the process, they lost it. Another way we lose is that when we come under umbrella, just like the Sadri community is one instance of coming together of a number of minority language groups to build their own socio-political identity. And most of these minority groups belong to Austroasiatic Dravidian and a few Indo-Aryan languages. And Sadri incidentally happens to be an Indo-Aryan language, which used to be a linked language. And now most of the people from this ex-Garden and Garden community, they have T tribes, they have opted for Sadri, Indo-Aryan language, as their first language. And in fact, I know some of them who have admitted that my mother used to speak Orang and my father used to speak some other dialect, but now I only speak Sadri. So this is the second generation and the third generation. Their children will definitely not be moving even to Sadri, but moving over to English or Hindi or whichever language is for their convenience. So there are a number of dominant tribes who take minor tribes into their fold to raise the population count. And these minority groups declare the mother tongue of the dominant group as theirs. Most of the minor groups, especially those belonging to other mother tongue category, are compelled to adopt one of the dominant official language for socio-economic reasons. Attitude of the locals about language shift is mostly nonchalant. For them, it's a question of survival, opportunities for good education and chances of having a stable job. For majority, language shift is a sure sign of moving upward the socioeconomic ladder. Maybe they are unaware or maybe they don't care, but some people are conscious and they worry about this. And now I'd like to place before you about this community called Bugun Khoa. Please correct, the spelling West is double S, please. There needs to be some editing, I suppose. So Bugun Khoa, this is a tribe that I had worked community. I had this UGC MRP project and ICSSR project. And this is a major tribe. The tribe is called major, not by the population, but by the customary laws of Arunachal Pradesh. The Bugun community had an epidemic. One of the reasons for extinction that we read in Crystal is this, epidemics, invasion. So they had epidemic, cholera-like epidemic. And so the entire population came down to 659. So this population since then has remained low, and even after 60 years, they still have the minority or status or other language, other mother tongue status. And Bugun is not included in the 2001 census population list of ST languages of Arunachal Pradesh, as its population is below 5,000. And if you want to know more about the population list, you can go to the census report on ST population, you'll get it. And this is the chronological census report. 61, it was 659. 71, it was 703. 81, it is 625. 91, then In 2011, it is 1432. So this is a language, a group, a community, though it has respect, regards, and is given the equal status with other bigger communities having more population, yet within the policies of Government of India, it is one of the other mother tongue that cannot be taught in school, cannot be given a scheduled tribe status. And so it cannot reap any benefit from the government or the facilities. So the provision of Article 350 says, protect Bugun as it belongs. We cannot protect Bugun as it belongs to the other mother tongue category. Article 29 declares that minorities have no right to conserve culture, language, and script, which are because of the population. Bugun songs and various dance forms are what we get to see in the name of culture. And these are, if you go to Doordarshan, you will have such programs, or they are invited to some festivals, they are there to be seen. Rituals are now performed only during festivals. And I have been to one such festival where if you ask the priest, what are you chanting? He says, I don't know. I'm only repeating what I heard. So the community used to practice animism, but the impact of Buddhism led them to adopt the Mahayana sect of Buddhism. Of late, Buddhism is being replaced by Christianity. The transition from one religion to the other has impacted on the culture, the traditional practices. Like other languages of the state, Bugun does not have a script, and they too have adopted the Roman script mainly to translate the Bible. I'd like to have 2 more slides to go. So the West Kameng is an area where it is predominantly, you'll see the Indian Army. And the Indian Army came in after the 1963. So, and the Tenga Valley of West Kameng is one of the most beautiful place that I have seen in Arunachal Pradesh. And this area has quite a bit of flatland. And the humble folks, the Bugun tribe, they donated most of their lands to the Indian Army. And the Indian Army is still encroaching their land, and there is always legal matters happening, issues where they are always at loggerheads with the officers. And there is a place called Chindi Top, which is the original home of the Buguns. They left after the cholera outbreak because they thought the place was cursed. The Indian Army has taken it over, and this is now the residential and official area with cinema hall and market complex. They've developed it. And what has affected the Bugun mostly is they realize that Hindi is a prestige language because everyone who comes in the army speaks this language. And so now every parent wants the children to be admitted to the KV. That's not a bad thing. But what the parents are doing in the field, when I used to meet the parents, they used to say, "Hum log Hindi bolta hai bacche ka saath." Why do you speak Hindi? Because I have to admit them in Kendriya Central School, Kendriya Vidyalaya. So as a result, the Anganwadi classes, which were taught in Bugun initially, now they teach in Hindi. So there is a shift which is scaring. And one interesting problem emerged while writing this book for the Bugun community, the Bugun reader. While I was writing it, we decided to have it as a trilingual. Bugun would be written in Roman script, Hindi in Devanagari, and English, of course, with the Roman script. And while I was editing the book and getting it to the final stage, one of the informants, Jimbu, he told me that the local committee members, and the local people wanted the Hindi portion to be written in Roman script. I was a bit surprised because I didn't realize that they could speak Arunachali Hindi, but they have never learned Devanagari script in school because the medium of instruction is English, and you have English and they are familiar with the Roman script. So finally, because this book was meant for them and it is for the community, I included the Hindi portion, one section. So it's not only trilingual, it is also with Hindi written in English. And that is when they were so happy. They said, "Ha, madam, abhi book theek hai." So this is the situation we are in, where we are losing out on languages. We are adapting to new languages, and even an adaptation is not a full one, complete one, because if I can speak, I may not be able to read and write. These are the problems that we have. And in the conclusions, I would like to say that besides the language policies, the language shift, which has proved to be detrimental to the lesser known languages of the region, we have a challenge of documenting all the language varieties. This is what I find to be more problematic. Working with a number of endangered language communities, I have observed that there is an attempt by most ethnic groups to establish an identity of their own. That is fine, no issues. But while doing that, and most of the time, various communities come under one umbrella. And this compulsion to carve a new identity, which is primarily an outcome of the challenges they face with the language policies adopted by the government. There's a reason why they are doing it. So this again becomes a challenge to a researcher who would like to explore and work on the indigenous group, find out, make a, document all the varieties that is to be found. But in some cases, we have found that the communities are very, very particular that you cannot touch those varieties. So there are some, and I'm discussing this openly because we are amongst linguists. You must have also faced such situation. Maybe you may have some way of solving this issue. And as most of you are native speakers working on your own mother tongue now, I suppose, just like Bijan has said, so many scholars are there, you may be able to resolve this problem and make a pathway, because the irony is that these community members, while trying to survive a socio-political situation, indirectly plays a significant role in the disappearance of some of the lesser known and lesser researched languages and dialects in and around their vicinity. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Madam. That was a very insightful and informative presentation. Thank you once again, Madam. And this presentation can be considered as one of the whole picture which depicts the language status of Northeast regions and what is the current status of the languages, as well as what it needs to be done. Thank you, Madam, for bringing up this very informative presentation. And now the session is open for Q&A. So participant can raise their hand or they can unmute and they can speak. Yes. So I invite everyone to come forward for your question, comments. So meantime, when we are waiting for participants to come up, Madam, I was wondering, yes, the language shift is for the betterment of a life, for a stable job that people used to do. So, and there is another aspect of language shifting. People means the community people used to have a negative perspective or aspect of their own language. So can you suggest or can you give some methods or the mantra that can overcome the negative attitudes of the community people towards their own language, Madam?
So I can give you an example from the Bugun community. This particular community they're well-to-do. They, all of them are working. It's not that we have situation where their income is a problem, but they're very conscious again that I have to be like the other. That is mostly the people coming from different parts of India, because if you go to Tenga Valley, the Tenga market is a place where everybody meets on a Sunday, because that is when the market happens, and you will find people from different parts of, right from anyone, and the list is from Assam, I suppose. I was maybe one or two of Assamese, but mostly people from South, North, Rajasthan, everywhere people are there. So these people, they're doing business there. They're having, the build is also big, physically they are strong, the presence is there. So these people, though they are landowners, they, in spite of being landowners and rich, they have a identity problem, or maybe they're conscious of their being not as equal with them because they don't know Hindi, and which is why they are consciously, the parents. I went to this mother for this lady for some information, and her two kids, one would be about 2 years, 2.5 years, who just could speak, and the other 1 or 2 year older. They were watching the TV, they were watching Discovery, and then they saw this big rhinoceros. They know the word for rhinoceros in Hindi. And I was surprised. I said, this kid should be speaking in their language. Then I asked the mother, he said, no, madam, we consciously we are doing it. So, it's just mind. And I think so it is the community, the people who are working with the community should tell them the rich heritage that they have. And maybe we can think of, in fact, I had spoken to Professor UN Singh when the center was first established, that if we could have some kind of a festival, something to do not only with the weave or the culture dance form, and even the food festival, maybe cinemas, we can have document, do something that can be of help. Because all the time what is happening, someone is there who visits them, and they are definitely they are at a level where, whether it is from the university, whether you go, then this, oh, sir has come, that attitude. We have to be at par with them, be with them. So whether it is from the church, father comes and they will say, father is here. So everyone is at an elevated position. They feel that they are not there. So education is one thing, and being conscious. Now see, if I have a problem with, oh, I'm not fair, then who is going to change it? So, if I'm conscious about my complexion or about my looks, nobody can change that. It becomes very difficult. But we need to take them out, tell them that you need to go and have your education in English, have it in, we cannot deny that, we cannot change that. It would be very difficult. But we need to at least tell them, respect your own mother language. And if they don't do it, then it is our job to document it as fast as we can. And we know it is not easy, because you cannot make a person speak at gunpoint. The informant will give you data only when he or she is in the right mood. We have to wait for them. I have waited. It's very frustrating. You have to wait, and you're waiting, and you see your informant going for a football match or going for a picnic, and say, Madam, aaj nahi aayega, I won't do this. So you go all the way and it doesn't happen. So we also have to accommodate, adjust. And what I have seen is that all the foreign scholars who have come, they go and stay with them. They become a part of the family. How many of us do that? So if we go and be with them, maybe we can produce something more. Maybe we can give them something. But with the Bugun community, though they asked me to write Hindi in Roman script, I did that for them. When I asked them, do you read the book? They don't read it, because for them, there's no utility from that book. It's only a record which they keep, and maybe they distribute to visitors. That is what they do. So this is something maybe at a national level, I don't know, because the mother tongue business is not going to work here. You bring in new policy, whatever you bring in, it will never work. And the only way is, it's a very slow process. You document, waste the fund. So we should think of preserving it. We need platforms. Universities should all come together to work. So let us see if they give importance to documentation, not many. So that is what, it's very difficult.
Yeah, thank you, madam. Yeah, do we have any the question and query? Yeah.
Okay, if nobody is coming, I thought I will come towards the last. Hello?
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, we can hear.
Yeah. I hear you, yes.
Okay, I thought of coming towards the last, but nobody is filling in the gap. So I thought I'll just come in quickly and fill in the gap. Firstly, it was a very inspiring and very informative talks. Within a span of just 2 to 3 days, we have given her, Professor Madhumita, an urgent call that we need to organize an immediate talk. And within a short span of time, she could present to us such a vast presentation and systematically organized talk on the languages of Northeast India, bringing up many issues. So this is really very encouraging, and I appreciate you for that. So I have one or two comments and also some comments and some kind of suggestions which I would like to bring it up. So if you want, you can note them. The list is 6. I've listed 6 numbers. So if you want, you can address them. So in your presentation, you talk about spilling across of languages, which is very common in Northeast India. For example, Thado is spoken or Tangkhur is spoken across Burma and also Assam and so on and so forth. So this is a common phenomena and another challenge that we have to deal with. So about Tangkhur, I have, to my experience, Tangkhurs may not be found in Assam. So this is something that I have a doubt. So Zemis are there, but Liangmais and Tangkhurs are not there in Assam. This is what I know, at least for my own sake. Perhaps I may be wrong. You can examine them. Then the other points are all sort of comments. You talk about in our area, Northeast India, especially in the Manipur, Nagaland. Hello, yeah, even in Arunachal Pradesh, this coming together of what you call regional tribes. Number of tribes forming some regional identity. This is very common, especially in Northeast India. And you raise some important points that in coming together to form some kind of regional identity, somewhere there we stand the danger of even losing out some of our languages, because while forming some political or regional identity for political, what do you call, enlargement or one's political need, some languages can be at the receiving end. This is something that I noted for myself and which I was also thinking for quite some time. And how do we address as a linguist? Thus far, we have been listening talks on language endangerment from international and national perspective. But as a linguist, as a community linguist, what are the roles? Because we are the people who know our own problems, who know our linguistic problem, our social problem. So as a linguist, what should be our role? So some of the roles that I have into my mind is that why not each of us, even in this group, say some from Assam, some from Manipur, some from Nagaland, some from Arunachal Pradesh, start writing some kind of newspaper headline addressing about the importance of and promotion of our own languages. Because unless we speak up, just having some kind of what you call international seminar where we talk many theoretical stuff, our languages will not improve. So these voices should come from the people. This is something that even from Manipur side, from Nagaland, so from 7, 8 sister states, we can do something. We can even write some newspaper informing the people. And also we can write to the education board about the needs and kind of thing. And also we can send some kind of memorandum to the government. So unless we do something, just pitying ourselves that our languages are in danger, is going to be lost, this is what we are facing. But as a linguist, what should be the natives, our role? This is something that I was trying to come up. And the next challenge related to this is NEP, New Education Policy. So what should be the role of a linguist, and how should we address this new education policy, which on the surface looks very promising, but how should we deal with this new education policy? So these are some of the things that sprung up from on the basis of your talk.
Yeah. Now, because you see, all of us who have been working in, can you hear me? Okay.
Yes.
Hello.
Yes, madam. Yeah, madam. You're
All of
audible.
us, we have been working. All of us have faced this, but only thing is that these are points which were not. In fact, what I presented today is that there is a paper that's going to come up from Guwahati University Journal, and that's a journal of literature, and they wanted me to write a paper, and I said that I was wondering what to write. Yeah, and that is when these thoughts came to my mind. I said that these are issues which people from departments of, say, political science and other general people would be interested, not what, like Haukipa said now, that we don't need to talk about theories or, a paper which are more functional, formal. So that is one thing why I thought of doing it. And I had experience because my first scholar, PhD scholar, Jugen Pegu, is a missing speaker. He had explored all the dialects of missing. And then when he had gone to Arunachal, because Junai and Arunachal, the border area, some missing people have shifted to Arunachal. And then they are actually missing speakers from Assam. But when they are there, their identity is different because they have come under some bigger group and they're staying there. And this kind of issue has come from a number of other scholars that I have. And I would advise them that don't try to prod much because this may lead to problem. Remember, Professor Scott Delancey had problem in Manipur. I don't know the details of it, but he did face some problem there. I also remember this LSI conference in Shillong, where Professor Abbi had mentioned that what is this language which is not
Panar.
dialect of Khasi, but it is so that is a more technical. What happens is that we need to be very careful. We need to divide the political, socio-political out from the system, and that becomes difficult. I know it's a very catch-22 kind of a situation. And about Thangkul and Zem, I think so. These are from record. I shall correct that because books around.
Madam, we are not able to hear you. Yeah, Madhumita, madam.
Bijan, I think ma'am is trying to connect the internet. She lost connection. I have just called.
Okay.
They're trying to connect.
Yeah, meantime, if any of the participants have compliment and some observation, then they can share also. And I personally encourage our young scholars to kindly come up and put some question and query to the speaker. This is a very good chance and golden chance for all of us to interact with the speaker. So I encourage our young scholars to come up with some questions and query.
Yes. No, yeah, the net is
Oh,
such
okay,
a
okay.
big problem.
Yeah, please, ma'am. It's okay now.
No, this is what I had to say. If I've missed out some point that I'll keep it raised, we can hold a seminar on this particular area, where because all the field linguists, when they go to the field, I suppose they maintain a field diary. The field diary should be where we will find lot of information which can be used and discussed, and then maybe we can find, and maybe we can also invite informants or the community members to attend, maybe virtually, and if things are better, we can all meet in a platform. I wouldn't mind. I will have a bit of money. I wouldn't mind sometime in the future to hold a seminar of this kind in the university. Not much, but we'll manage something on that kind. So it takes time. It will be like, let's see how it works out. And writing on paper media, we need to do a very thorough, kind of investigation. Read the NEP thoroughly. And I have actually presented about the national
Sorry to
education
interrupt,
policy.
madam. Sorry to interrupt. Can you unplug and plug your headphone, madam, once again, because your voice is breaking. Yeah, yeah. Means the jack of the headphone. Please unplug and plug it again.
Yeah, can you hear now? Can you hear me, Vijay?
Yeah, we can hear, but the voice is not clear. It's breaking, so we are not able to get it clearly.
That is net here today. Somehow it is so bad. It's not like this normally. But today, no, we need to thoroughly trash out the national language new education policy, the new one. The former ones I have discussed in one of the again it is again you have only the official languages. You twist and turn and finally you end up with the official languages, and the lesser known languages are never in the scene because those policies will not change. So how to go about it? So like what Arunachal Pradesh had requested in 2012 SCRT, that we need to have a separate policy for Arunachal Pradesh, not only Arunachal Pradesh, for other states also, northeastern states. At least the language policies should be a bit different. Maybe if we can push that around and start platform. And of course, the moment you bring in politicians, you have to, it becomes dicey. It's difficult. So they don't understand our way we think. Their style of work is very different from us. So that is the main problem. We are in a catch-22 situation. We have to only hope that we can raise issues, and nowadays everything happens, it's big numbers that matter. Or you take placards and big numbers, then only you are recognized or seen. But we have to do it a bit differently because the stalwarts who are in Delhi, our senior linguists who have retired, most of them have retired now. We can road pin them and see, because they have got a network, they have got connection in Delhi, if they can help us in some way. That is what Professor UN Singh, Professor Appi, Rao sir, Subba Rao sir, and others. I don't know. So this is what I have to say. Yeah.
Pagdan sir, do you have some more to add, or I think Professor Madhumita has answered to your question?
No, what you can do is you ask other participants to ask question. I have already asked.
Okay. So yeah, Monali, please go on.
Yeah, I gave a question in the chat box, but then I think I can read it by myself. So, ma'am.
Okay, chat box.
Yes, ma'am.
I didn't.
First of all, ma'am, thank you, ma'am, for the talk. My question is,
Uh,
several of these speech communities have issues with orthography
uh,
and disagreements over same script among the members of the same community. How do we
okay.
face such challenges for these languages in Northeast?
See, the orthography business, let me tell you, this person from the one of the Kelma informant, Bulkelma, he has sent me a text which they have uh, written the orthography of for Kelma, and he sent it not making very clear what he wants from me. It's already edited. So the thing is that with people, uh, with orthography, you would need to be, it has to be done scientifically, one thing. And to be scientifically done, you need to have good phonologists who will identify the sounds. Because the moment we adopt a script, issues come in. Like, for example, the Boro language has a sound which the Devanagari script would not be able to capture, and that is the sound they use of sign of like W. It's not W exactly, but it's a R sound, I think. So it's a central vowel. So there are, I suppose, each and every language would have at least Tibeto-Burman within the same region. They would have some sounds. Those sounds has to be worked out. It is not the consonant, it's mostly the vowel sounds that will create issues. And vowel sounds is what we need to work out. Right, Monali? Did I
Yes,
answer you? I don't know.
yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Because we need to have a good phonologist. The sound acoustic analysis has to be done. If we are doing it, then we have to have the acoustic analysis, then give it to the community. If they want to develop the script, they can do it. It's not hard, because they can also share some, or even SCRT or Nagaland has this Directorate of Languages, and also departments are there who are doing it. They can do it, but it has to be done scientifically, I suppose.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Yes. Mm.
Any question, comment, observation is most welcome. Yeah,
There is a
MC.
comment by Bobita.
Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am, for such an informative talk.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, your
Tumsi,
chat didn't come through, Monali. Message.
Yeah, Temsu, please, you please, yeah, go
yeah,
on.
just
Yeah,
yeah,
Temps.
thank you, ma'am,
Yeah.
for that very, I think, comprehensive overview of
Mm.
the language situation.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, yeah.
Just one observation, or maybe yeah, with regard, I think having a platform like this actually gives us the opportunity to raise issues. And one thing that uh, which I think I've been thinking about, and which actually came up in your talk, is with regard to this whole census operation. Uh, so
Yeah,
you have this rationalizing of mother tongues. I don't know how they
yeah.
do it, or what is the criteria, but in the process of rationalizing mother tongues, many
Mm,
languages are actually losing out. So this is very
yeah.
true of, let's say, Ao, where if you give your
Mm,
mother tongue as Mongsen or Changki or Chungli,
mm,
it comes under Ao. So it's rationalized into
mm,
one. So if you talk about
mm,
mother tongue education, you're basically talking about mother tongue
mm.
education in Chungli, not in the other
Mm.
dialects, which is going to
Okay.
affect 50% of the population. Similarly, this is something which I think is very common in many of the uh, Naga tribes, as well as the yeah, tribes in Manipur. Now, the other thing is, after rationalizing, we also have this category, other category, which where again you have languages which are spoken by less than 10,000. So again, I don't know why 10,000. I mean, where does this figure come from? Why is this figure chosen? But again, in the process of putting or clubbing all of these languages under the other category, where I think you have hundreds of maybe languages, then what happens in terms of again mother tongue education? uh, this is again very, I think, important, because very recently, because of the new education policy, everyone is talking about mother tongue education uh, at different levels. So uh, and I think when we say mother tongue should be taught till class so and so, I think it goes back to the census reports, and mother tongue is decided by these census reports. So what I was just thinking was, things like these, we need to raise these issues of how things, especially in the context of Northeast, how these rationalizing or putting it into the other category, how that kind of affects our languages. So just a observation with regard to the talk. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, Temsu, I just missed because there was again power problem today. So anyway, what you were saying is uh, that Ao has a number of dialects, right? Is that so?
Yes, 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 yes. So
The
three.
dialects that
Yeah.
yeah. And when it comes to this census, when they do this survey, so every community, the subgroup tribes come under our group, right?
Yes.
And then when they have to identify the mother tongue, it would be Ao and not the native language.
Yeah, it is rationalized under Ao. So whether
Ao,
it's
yeah.
Hungry, Mongsan, or Chanki,
Okay,
then
so it's rational under
yes,
Ao.
yes, the
So
tribe
the
name.
question is that if Ao is introduced in school, they will have to take Ao, or will they have Chungli? They wouldn't have Chungli and Mongseng
They
in
would
that.
have only Chungli
They
in
would
the
only have
name.
Chungli.
Yes, but not the
Okay,
other dialects.
okay. So that creates a problem. That means, yeah, at the home domain, you have your mother tongue, or it would be the other mother tongue. And at the school level, at the education domain, you have Chungli, right?
Yes, yes.
So
For some, it is the mother tongue. For some, it isn't.
it
But
isn't because
yes,
they're not they're not I mean they're not from that community,
yes,
right?
yes, yes,
So this, if we try to actually get into this, it becomes a big political issue because they'll say that why you're trying to divide. Because what has happened in Sikkim, the Sikkim, they started surveying all the languages separately, the dialects also. So immediately these smaller groups started asking, demanding things from the government, like reservation and other things. And that created a problem. And then government decided, no, let it be like before. So these are issues which I think so. Maybe if we want to say Mongsen, if I want to do research or write a document Mongsen, I'll have to go to the Mongsen speaker and do it, provided the bigger group does not have any issues. They would create problem. So if you can request, or we can take a permission letter from the university or wherever we go, give it to the Gambura or give it to the administrator in that district and say we would like to make a comparative study of Chungli and Mongsen. So that is how we can maybe do it and see how the dialect varies from one another. I don't know otherwise, because the rest we will not be able to uh, do within our limits. It's not possible. We are academicians. We cannot get into the other system. That is where the problem is. Okay, Temsu, did I give you?
yes, 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 ma'am. Yeah.
And this is something we need to continuously prod and think, because then only we will get to know. Maybe we'll get some answers sometime. I don't know. And it is for the younger people who are going to do research. They should keep all this thing in mind. They should not just go with one language, I want only data and come back. That is not what you should do.
Right. So we have a compliment from Pangsu Manjul. Yeah. Thank you, ma'am, for the enlightening, informative, and comprehensive talk. It was an enriching experience to hear you after a long time. It was from
Prangshu.
Pangsu Manjul. Yeah.
Prangshu.
Yeah. So
Thank you. Thank you, Prangshu.
So participants, we still have, we can take some two more questions, query. Okay, so no one is coming forward. I think it was a really clear and lucid kind of presentation. So many of the presentationers can comprehend rightfully. So, okay, so another message from Moshel Sasangten Kaling. Thanks for the informative talk. Hoping to listen to you more in the future. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, I would, and also from you, from all of us, we should listen to everyone, and then encourage the younger speakers, younger linguists to speak. Are we done?
Yeah, I think so, ma'am. So no more question and query from our participant side. So before I hand over to my colleague Monali for a vote of thanks, I would like to request to all the participants to kindly turn on your video so that we can take a snap of today's people who are present here. Yeah, we like to see to each other, and more people are coming. Please turn on your video. Some people are in the waiting room. Okay, some are still, yeah. It takes time, yeah, we understand that. Okay, 1, 2. All right. Okay, thank you, everyone. Now, I would like to request Dr. Monali Longmalai to propose vote of thanks.
Okay. Thank you to, first of all, to our host today, Dr. Bijen, for wonderful way that you have organized the.
Yeah, there was a noise. I do not know from where it was coming.
There was a technical issue. Yeah, there was a technical issue at the beginning, but then we have coped up well, I hope, and we apologize for the delay in the starting of the event. Second thing is, I would also like to thank our core committee members, especially Dr. Pauthang Haukip, Professor Dhiren Singha, Dr. Temsu Nusang, and Dr. Bobita, and Dr. Guigongpo Gongmei for being there in almost every meeting that we have discussed for the activities that we are going to propose for TiBLANEI. And I would like to give a special thanks to our speaker today, Professor Madhumita Barbora, for her wonderful talk on the lesser known languages of Northeast India and how these languages have been maintained by the native speakers till the present day. I would also like to thank the Center for Naga Tribal Language Studies, Nagaland University, for allowing us to use their Zoom account. And lastly, I would like to thank all the participants present here in the webinar, and we hope that you would actively participate in the forthcoming webinars as well. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. Yeah, have a pleasant evening, and we'll meet again on the next week in our next talk series, and we'll inform in advance in the group. Thank you, everyone, for being part of today's session. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.